Massimo is the European Public Policy Programme Manager at the IEEE Global Office in Vienna, where he's in charge of technology policy initiatives in the areas of ICT and energy. Prior to joining IEEE, Massimo served as researcher on emerging security and technology matters at the United Nations office at Geneva, where he focused on the interplay between space technology and nuclear issues. Previously, he had directed the work of the European Union Institute for Security Studies in the area of outer space and security-related issues, including through chairing an interinstitutional task force in this domain. Finally, Massimo has been a lecturer at the Geneva Centre for Security Policy and at the European Security and Defence College. He is also an author of several papers, reports, and policy briefs on outer space and security matters. So I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leo, for your kind introduction and for your invitation to this conference. So, as Leo said, my name is Massimo Pellegrino. I work at the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers as a European Public Policy Manager. And indeed, today's presentation will revolve around the IEEE European Public Policy Programme and the IEEE Blockchain Initiative. In particular, I will start with a short introduction about IEEE and public policy. Then we will look at the public policy activities and opportunities for engagement in Europe. And this will be followed by an overview of the IEEE Blockchain Initiative. And at the end, we will merge policy issues with blockchain, and we will have a look at the blockchain policy landscape in Europe. So I don't know whether or not you are familiar with IEEE, which is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. It is basically the world's largest technical professional associations, which is dedicated to advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. It has almost 500,000 members in more than 160 countries, and it is very well known to, let's say, for its publications, for its conferences, technology standards, and a number of other professional and educational activities. As you can see here, with the latest IEEE strategic plan from 2020 to 2025, one of the main aims of IEEE is to build communities with a view to informing public policy, which will be one of the main topics of today's presentation. And so why, let's say, a technical professional association is also involved in public policy? Let's say, on the one hand, because IEEE recognized that there has been a growing involvement of governments in technology-related matters, and on the other hand, IEEE has also recognized that not just the public and IEEE members need to be educated on the social implications of technology, but especially policy makers and lawmakers. And further, let's say, to these reflections, there have been a number of actions, let's say, conducted by IEEE in the area of public policy. First of all, to build, let's say, the structures, the authorities and procedures to conduct the public policy activities. And this include the establishment of the Global Public Policy Committee in 2015, and importantly, of the European Public Policy Committee in 2018. The aim of this European Public Policy Committee is, let's say, in short, to coordinate all IEEE public policy activities in Europe. And in particular, the committee wishes to give all IEEE members a voice and the tools necessary to engage in public policy discussions, with a view to promoting a dialogue and collaborations between the engineering community in Europe and the public authorities, let's say both intergovernmental organizations and institutions and bodies of the European Union, and also with a view to advocating public policies, informing European Union policy making, and shaping the associated policy options. The major, let's say, technology policy work of IEEE in Europe is conducted by two working groups. One focuses on energy-related issues, and the other one on ICT-related issues. And the main work unfolds along three different main areas. The first one is the development of policy documents, for example, position statements, technology white papers, and policy communications, such as, let's say, those that even the Construction Blockchain Consortium is developing. Then another area of work is building relations and meeting with policymakers and other policy stakeholders. And then last but not least is organizing events in collaboration with public institutions, or, for example, providing speakers for events that are driven and organized by public authorities. And here I wanted to include a link. In the event any of you is a member of IEEE or would like to become a member of IEEE, so in order to join the European Public Policy Committee working groups, which will be renewed in January next year. Now I would like to let's say, to detail and to elaborate a little bit more on the public policy activities and the different opportunities for engagement in Europe. As I said before, there are three main axes of work, and one of these is the development of policy document. Of course, let's say that IEEE members and the citizens alike, they of course can involve in public affairs, but as single individuals, they may have a more limited impact. This is the reason why IEEE, through the European Public Policy Committee and the European Public Policy Programme, gives IEEE members a voice in policy discussions, including through allowing IEEE members to develop consensus-based policy documents on a wide range of topics, and the blockchain can actually be one of these. Let's say that here at destination, you can find the full list of all the policy documents that have been developed by IEEE in the area of technology policy in Europe. And just to mention a few of them, relatively recently, IEEE responded to the European Commission's consultation on artificial intelligence and also published a technology policy white paper and position statement in the area of ICT for health. And in the past, it was also involved in different areas such as electronics industry and the network neutrality. More recently, the European Public Policy Committee and IEEE in Europe have started working on cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and intelligent, connected, and autonomous vehicles. And we hope that sooner or later within our community, there will be a number of members willing to start a technology policy project in the area of blockchain. Then, another, let's say, area of work or another major stream of our activities is to meet and build relationships with policymakers. And this can involve different aspects. For example, since the formation of the European Public Policy Committee, so since 2.5 years ago, IEEE members have met with a number of European Union policy officials, for example, policy officers in the European Commissions, member of the European Parliament, but also representative of other policy associations in Brussels. And this took place at different levels, both at the working levels, but also at the level of the directorate of, let's say, directors general. For example, in July 2019, IEEE organized a high-level meeting with DG Connect of the European Commission, and one of the topics that was discussed was indeed blockchain. Then IEEE is also, let's say, represented in a number of institutional experts or stakeholders group. For example, IEEE is represented in the European Commission high-level expert group on artificial intelligence, but also in a number of stakeholders groups, such as the one on cybersecurity certification and the one on smart buildings. And we also have, let's say, a member in the ENISA advisory group. ENISA is the European Union Cybersecurity Agency. In addition to this, as I mentioned before, IEEE members also tend to pool knowledge and expertise in order to respond to stakeholders' consultations, such as a recent one on artificial intelligence and another one on cybersecurity. And of course, as soon as the European Commission will launch a public consultation in the area of blockchain, the IEEE will conduct a similar exercise, notably will pool knowledge and expertise of its community in order to respond to any potential public consultation in the area of blockchain policy. And last, IEEE has also organized a number of events, really in cooperation, in partnership with European Commission's Directorate Generals, or when we decide, let's say, when we don't have the capacity to organize events on our own, we also provide the speakers, which means that we offer members of our communities to the European Commission or other European institutions when they are looking for panelists for a number of events. And of course, let's say this kind of activities that we do with a view to educating policymakers is also, let's say, conducted in order to educate IEEE members themselves. And this is the reason why members that are part of the European Public Policy Program develop and deliver policy webinars on a number of topics. And on the 29th of October, there will be, for example, a policy webinar on smart buildings, because this is one of the major topics at the moment on which the European Union is working. And I think that it was exactly yesterday that the renovation wave that was included in the European Green Deal was actually published. And in addition to, let's say, developing and delivering policy webinars, the European Public Policy Committee also disseminates a number of policy news about both policy and industry-related activities in Europe in the area of ICT and energy. And more importantly, as I said before, IEEE consists of almost 500,000 members. And as you can imagine, there are several entities in IEEE. So the European Public Policy Committee also, let's say, supports public policy objectives of other IEEE entities. And one IEEE entity that I would like to mention to you is the IEEE Blockchain Initiative. And here in Europe, we have been really instrumental in connecting the IEEE blockchain initiatives with public policy bodies, with policymakers, and so on. So here, really at the bottom of this slide, you can have, let's say, I just wanted to provide some links if any of you would like to become an IEEE members, so that, let's say, you can join the European Public Policy Committee or its two working groups, or just if you want to stay informed on European public policy activities by signing up in the newsletter. So just a few words about the IEEE Blockchain Initiative, what it is. In a nutshell, it is the hub for all IEEE blockchain-related projects and activities. And its, let's say, its work unfolds along 5-6 different areas, notably conferences. And here you can see a few upcoming conferences in the area of blockchain. Also the publications of documents, notably white papers and other technical briefs. other activities that involve the development of communities, both in Europe, Asia, and the United States. Also the contribution to developing standards projects, and some industry or special projects that are much more thematical. For example, the use of blockchain in the area of energy, in the area of healthcare, pharmaceutical, supply chain, but also agriculture. Here, it is just, let's say, a snapshot of a number of IEEE blockchain standards working groups that have been created in recent years. And as you can see, activities range from blockchain use in the Internet of Things, blockchain use in agriculture, in intelligent, connected, and autonomous vehicles, in healthcare and medicine, supply chain, governmental application, and so on. So if any of you is really interested in contributing to this, I would really welcome you, let's say, to have a look at the IEEE Blockchain Initiative website, to become a member of the community and to take part in this open standards working group. So everybody can really join any of these working groups and become an active member of our community. Our community that in the area of blockchain is also organized in local groups, both in the United States, in Europe, and in the Asia Pacific region. And here in Europe, we have 7 different local blockchain groups that have been established, and each of them is working on a specific different area. At the moment, we do not really have any local blockchain groups in Europe that is willing to start any initiative, project, or activity in the area of blockchain policy. But if any of you would like to do so, I would really suggest to make contact with the different local blockchain groups and to see whether or not this may be possible and that there is an interest within these groups to do so. So just, let's say, to reinforce once again what I have just said, for, let's say, as far as blockchain is concerned within IEEE, if you want to join the IEEE blockchain technical community, you do not necessarily need to be an IEEE member. So you can also be part of the IEEE blockchain community if you are not a member. And recently, let's say, currently, we are seeking for volunteers to participate in the different activities, and feel free to do so if you are interested, or even if you would like to collect more information. Here, I also leave you a number of contact information if you want to collect if you want to gather additional information about whether or not it is worthwhile to get engaged in a specific project and so on. So here you can really email them to collect any information, to make any questions that you would like, for which you would like an answer, let's say. And to conclude with, I would like to say something about the blockchain policy landscape in Europe, because as I said, as IEEE, we both have work programs in the area of policy, but also in the area of blockchain, and it would be important, let's say, to merge these 2 activities. So let's say that in Europe, the major institutional actor in the area of blockchain policy is, of course, the European Commission, and notably the DG Connect, with the Digital Innovation and Blockchain Unit, the head of which is Peteris Zilgalvis. And this unit deals with both digital innovation and the blockchain, and indeed it was instrumental in the creation of the European Blockchain Partnership, which counts 30 members, 30 European members, including UK, Norway, Liechtenstein. And the main aim of this European Blockchain Partnership is to deliver cross-border digital public services using blockchain technologies. And let's say the first rollout was or is expected to be by the end of this year, even though, let's say, the COVID pandemic slowed down a little bit this let's say, this process and so on. In terms of a regulatory approach, let's say that the European Union doesn't have in mind to really regulate blockchain technology, because the European Union wants to follow a technology neutral approach. But there may be a number of potential regulations in the areas of tokens and smart contracts, because let's say it was in the framework of the EU Blockchain Observatory and Forum that a number of policy documents were developed, and there were some recommendations about having some kind of hard regulation in the area of tokens and smart contracts. And let's say that for the European Union, let's say they are quite optimistic in terms of implementation and use of blockchain technology in a number of applications, mostly supply chains and intellectual property protections. And the European Commission also believes that blockchain can be the fundamental layer of the next generation of internet. In addition to the European Commission, there have been other, let's say, institutions involved to some extent that had the say as regards blockchain, for example, the European Central Banks when it comes to cryptocurrency. But the European Central Bank, of course, was quite reluctant for let's say, cryptocurrencies and so on, because, I mean, in Europe, we just have one currency, that is Europe. And other institutional actors in the area of blockchain policy are the OECD, especially further to the development and the creation of the Blockchain Policy Center and the Blockchain Expert Policy Advisory Board. And relatively recently in Europe was created an association called INATBA, which allows both the private sectors and other stakeholders to engage and have a voice with public bodies and other public authorities in the event in which, let's say, citizens and other organizations are not well connected with the institutions. And with this, I, let's say, give the floor to any of you for the Q&A session. And thank you very much for your attention.